Hello, hello! Let's talk about this solo raid. This time it's about only one, which is actually a mostly fine boss. Before we get to start, these were my teams. This is the teams on the alt. I ended up with 17.5 billion damage. Um, my main ended up on 18.5, but there's some things I could do a little better. If you're wondering why my alt has Phantom over here, it's not by choice. Phantom is completely worse than Quincy, so if you have Quincy, that's a better option. However, in my case, I didn't get Quincy until like 3 to 4 months ago, so my Phantom got overloaded as a result, and my Quincy did not. So yeah, if you wonder why I use Phantom over Quincy, that's why. It's not by preference. She is definitely just worse. As unfortunate as this is, considering her design is generally one of the best this game has, at least in my eyes. Um, this solo raid is mostly fine if you. It's just a matter of like maximizing damage. Nothing in this raid is really too dangerous. It's actually completely doable to do it without taking, well, not without taking damage, but without taking a healer. Because most of the damage you can take is just something you can cover. There's indication that you're going to be attacked by most of them, and the times it's not, it's just because you should be more busy doing QTEs. So, yeah. For the most part, it's pretty fine. It's really just the projectile attack that the boss throws at you that can be a problem, because that can tear apart your cover. That's a problem. You don't want that to happen. But yeah, no, this solo raid is pretty easy, all things considered. Oh, and if you want a longer look at my main, there you go. Yeah. I will also mention the... Oh, sorry, that's my alt. Sorry, this is the alt, and this is the main. My bad. You'll see that also I did a little of a swap. I took Rappy, I put it instead of Quincy on the Mermaid team for my ult. I did my ult after my main, as I tend to do, because my main has a bit of an easier time with stuff, so I can experiment more. But effectively, to put it as simple as I can, it's just so I have 4 machine gun with Little Mermaid, so I have better burst gen. And also, the other reason is just to do circles. It's really annoying on my main when I was not using Quincy instead of Rappy, so I had to swap to Snow White and just spam shot the circles. This shit sucks. You lose a fair bit of damage doing that as well. Um, I kind of just realized that after I was doing Snow White's team, because that was my... I mean, on my main, I guess it was my second team, but I thought I did it last. But oh well, whatever. I'm confusing teams now. Or confusing accounts, I should say. But the point is, if you have Quincy or Phantom or whatever the fuck you have, it's better to use them with Snow White so that you can just focus on doing. Let her do like Snow White things. Other than that, I think it's pretty simple. I will say this for this team in particular, the one with Snow White. You are much better off if you have Miranda with her treasure, because then, more often than not, that's going to make so that Miranda is going to hit her with the buff and whatever other DPS units you have. In this case, if I had Quincy here, well, I would not be able to have Raven because of Miranda. I would just put Miranda, Blanc, then Snow White, then Rouge, then Quincy. And the thing is, Miranda works for like a whole shot for SBS. Sorry, not SBS, what am I saying? Snow White. And because of that, her damage improves by quite a bit, and also she will always crit, which is nice. So you will be able to get more out of Snow White that way. Snow White is like, in this team, I think she's a bit over half of the damage. So, you know, if you want to make her hit harder, it's not a bad idea. It's not going to be good for Quincy because she obviously shoots a lot, but it's fine. Just saying that because if you have Miranda, that's actually worth considering overall. But yeah, let's talk about teams. This fight is pretty simple overall. I will say this with this team. I was a bit lazy. This was my 10th round with this boss of the day, and I'd been awake for 22 hours. I also had no motivation to actually push through, so I did not play as well as I should. Essentially, what you can do is just spam shoot with Rouge whenever your burst is over, or you can swap to Rouge just after she did a shot, and full charge, like get it ready for when the full burst ends, so you can do more burst gen, so you can get back into it faster. It does matter. I'm going to show where exactly it matters most, but yeah, it's mostly for damage. So I figured, why not? At the end of the day, I can do this just fine. Snow White one taps this, it's completely fine. And yeah, I mean, this fight is pretty simple. First is going to be Leviathan. Then, you know, the boss will do the pew-pew like this. And then it's going to be Behemoth. You just do the QT as fast as you can. Can you tell I fought this boss for like 3 hours? This is the most annoying part. Thankfully with Snow White just one-taps them. After that, it's going to hit position 135 with the laser, and after that is Ziz popping out. Or is it the QT? No, it's Ziz. After that is the QT, that's right. So this attack, there's nothing you can do to prevent it. It will just happen. Just like Ziz if you don't run the absolute squad against her in story hard mode, which is, as we love it, just the best stuff, right? But essentially what it means is just cover it. Just cover it and you'll be fine. It doesn't do too much cover damage, thank God. You cannot kill it, it's immortal, so just focus on doing damage. Now, if you have good healing, you can just power through it, it's completely fine. And because I have Blanc here, I could have just not covered and just kept going. But you do take quite a lot of damage from it, so it's a bit iffy. What you can do is also just cover the final hit, and then you have enough HP to work with. If you have a healer, otherwise you generally just have to cover it. Unless you have shields, but that's going to be something I'm going to go over with the Crown team. Another thing you'll see me do with this fight is not burst with Phantom. Also, yeah, this is good because I don't... Obviously, the full burst is not perfect. Ideally, you should be bursting with your secondary burst right as it starts. If you're good on burst gen, I'm not, unfortunately. But if you're generally good on burst gen, aka you use Rouge to generate burst instead of relying on Snow White, because Snow White generates a ton of burst, then yeah, you should be bursting with Raven, in my case. During that burst, which makes it way easier. Just keep in mind, because Raven is a rocket launcher, if you're going to be doing this, you will want to swap to Raven and charge shot, but don't release. You can release the full charge shot between QTE when it's forming the next set of QTE, but for your sake, don't shoot when any of the circles are present, because what will happen is you will just fail the QTE. Because there seems to be a wall behind the QTE, so it's going to splash into the white circles. But yeah, otherwise just shoot between the QTE to upkeep your dot, and you should be fine. Now that you're in phase 2, it's going to blast from left to right. Every single people. As you can see, Blanche shields can cover for 3 people. This is kind of important because it makes your life a lot easier. Here, because my QTE is not lined up proper, my full burst is not lined up properly, I'm not in full burst the whole time, which is a bit of a problem. But yeah. And here I'm trying to just shoot at it as it spawns because the QTE ends in a weird way. So yeah. With that done, I mean, after that the fight is pretty self-explanatory. At about 30 seconds this is going to pop out because it's Ziz. She's just annoying like that. Yeah, you can just face tank it, honestly. It's completely fine. At this point of the fight, the boss is just going to laser from left to right after the projectile, but again, this is the Snow White team, she doesn't care about it. So you can just focus on doing the circles and going back into it for more damage. Now, keep in mind, the person you're going to be bursting first is going to get an extra burst in this fight, usually. So make sure it's Snow White. To also explain, Phantom sucks. Raven is way better. Obviously. I mean, you can just see the difference in damage. I'm bursting with Raven because there's not many parts in this fight. So the burst boosting your sustained damage actually makes sense. It will matter because genuinely you just get more damage out of Raven than Phantom even with elemental damage. But in my case, I also don't have any elemental damage overloads because honestly, I don't think she's worth it. As unfortunate as that is. Maybe if she gets a treasure in the future. I can only hope, to be honest. I can only hope. But for now, she's just not great. If you have elemental damage, it might be better to burst with her, but I mean, her burst is just slapping damage. It does a big burst of damage and that's it. So it's not really ideal either way. If you have Quincy, it's better to burst with Quincy because Quincy actually is super reliant on her burst to do more damage. It is a massive distributed damage increase. It's a pretty big attack increase, so it's pretty important for her, and also reload speed, which makes so that her stack stays up. So it actually matters. You do want to burst with Quincy. Alright, second is SBS with Beralio. Yep, just straight up. If you have Bredy, you can replace SBS with Bredy and it's going to do better. If you have the elemental damage for it, of course. Now, as you see, I'm using Mass to deal with the projectiles. Yes, this is a running theme. It's going to be a problem in general to deal with those projectiles for most teams. Snow White makes it easy. It's just annoying because you have to deal with Rouge giving you enough burst to actually get back in. This is why it's Team 1, in my opinion. It's the most annoying team to play with. For those who are not really used to my videos, I put them in order of how annoying they are to go through. First being the most annoying one, and fifth being the easiest one. So, yeah. You're going to have to babysit the projectiles with Mast with this team, because that's a big problem. Also, me being stupid, I actually ran Anchor in Bastion. I didn't realize it was in Bastion instead of Brazilians. They look the fucking same. That's on me. So that actually kind of screws me over. If you have resilience on her, it's way better because you just end up always having max ammo because your reload time is like 0.1 second or whatever. Um, and it's just better for it. Now, also, if you wonder, why am I using volume? There's just so much attack buffs in this team that it really doesn't matter. I think litter is pretty wasted in this team because you are in a team where okay, so Anchor gives a 35% attack increase, I think. Mass gives like a 60% attack increase. SBS buffs their own attack by 115% attack. Liberalio buffs their own attack by 160% attack. So you get into a weird position where Litter is kinda overkill, except maybe for Liberalio. So you might get some damage out of it for Liberalio, but genuinely for SBS, it makes no difference if you're running volume or litter, because there is genuinely enough crit damage buffs and too much attack buff that you're at a point where you're oversaturated on attack. I've mentioned this before, but yeah, I've used her here. Volume is 177 and has no overloads, by the way. So if you think you can do this, think again. It's generally really easy to work with. Litter can still be really good in this team, but my problem with her is that if I am not using her here, or rather, if I'm using volume here, I can get to use litter somewhere else, somewhere that actually do need the attack. So I think it's better spent that way, in my opinion. Also because D sucks, to be honest. We don't have piercing units, so some of her damage is just completely wasted as a result. So something you're going to see me do with Anchor is actually just full charge a hit while having max ammo as the full burst ends. If you do that right, you get basically more time in burst. It's just a bonus. Here, don't give a shit, you can face tank through this. The main reason why this one is on third is really just because you have to basically do QTEs with mast because Anchor is too slow, and you have to be spam shooting the whole time with Anchor. That's just annoying. I've had to test so much shit with this team, my arm felt like shit by the end. Ideally, you just keep the full charge on Anchor while the rest of the team do the QTE. As you can see here, by the way, yeah, this is what happens when you actually get to do the QTE properly. Sorry, your full burst rotation properly. You will be able to go in with your second burst, and usually it's with your worst of the two characters' damage, or damage-wise, which means you lose nothing and you get to burst an extra time at the end, which is why it matters. But yeah, this is pretty easy at the end of the day. I mean, this boss in general is fairly easy. It's just a matter of like, if you want to be perfect. Also, yeah, dealing with the projectile is just a pain. That was pretty limit. Fun fact, on hard modes, for hard mode in campaign, this would one-shot your team. In this, it does nothing. It's actually insane how little it does. Here, the only one that matters to be like in a full green bar is volume, because as I said, mine is not overloaded, has pretty garbage everything, and yeah. Honestly, this team does way more than I expected them to do. It's like probably the best neutral team now at this point, instead of electric, because electric does not really have much flexibility with elements. They mostly have electric and iron because of 8. But yeah, this was pretty simple, and let's move on to the next one. Shotgun. Honestly, Shotgun is pretty interchangeable with the second one because Nayuta just deals with everything. She provides heal for this team, which is good. She does good damage for the team as well, which is also good. I tried with Brid. Brid does worse. Also, you see me cover a lot more with this. Genuinely, I wouldn't really do that for the most part, but it was late, so I didn't want to fucking calc when it was better to do. Also, because Nayuta's heal is, I mean, it's good, but you see the damage I'm taking. It's pretty bad. As you can see here, I waited until I started getting shot and then covered. That way I mitigate 2 hits out of 3 and I don't lose as much damage. This works pretty well. This is, by the way, the best damage team for this raid, at least for me. My main did almost 5 billion damage with this team. It's really stupid. So as you can see here, I ended up bursting with Drake right as the boss did the QT. This is really good because it means I can get back to Dorothy bursting when the boss is back to being present. And obviously Dorothy is your main damage for this raid. She's the best water DPS after all. Leviathan instantly perishes. I mean, yeah, this is... Honestly, this is the one where you're gonna struggle the least with, like, damage check or whatever the hell. Dorothy is just crazy like that. Here you can see me also cover the laser because that's the laser that hits everyone at once, so it's... Just cover properly and you'll be fine. Yeah, I powered through it here because, I mean, I might as well. You get a fair amount of time where you can just, you know, chill as Nayuta heals you. She doesn't heal fast, but she heals a fair bit over time. And that's what matters most. Now I can just take the hit here. It doesn't matter, you're so late into the fight anyway that there is no threat for the rest of the fight. Except Behemoth that pops in like this because I did everything so fast that it got to rotate back. Which is surprising, to be honest. But yeah, this is pretty easy. At the end of the day, it's really mostly just being optimal to actually get the Drake burst before the QTE shows up, so you get to do more damage overall. Pretty simple overall. Next up is Machine Guns and Mermaid. 4 machine guns and 1 mermaid. This one is pretty easy because crown shields are stupid. I know. What a brave statement. But really, they are so stupid for this fight. Ziz gets basically completely negated. It's fucking stupid. Yep, these lasers do nothing. This is a mechanic we completely ignore. This literally did not have time to do damage. Thankfully because of Mermaid's mechanic. Yeah, I tried to just intercept them as I hit the body, which, you know, makes your life easy. Again, this does nothing because you have shields. Hey, Ziz! This takes 2 hit to block the shield, so you can just go 1-2 cover. That's basically what I do, and it completely deals with everything that is a problem here. Your burst gem is pretty fine, so you can just keep shooting at the boss, and that's it. If you're wondering why I'm covering with people, it's quite simple. Rappy will kill you. If Rappy's explosive projectile, however the fuck you want to call those, happen, then, you know, it's going to blow up, and the white circles will be obliterated, and so will be your HP. As you can see, this is pretty simple. At the end of the day, with 4 machine gun, it's pretty simple for you to loop your crown shield at the right time. Like, this happens, it's completely negated. This happens, you get into another burst just in time. Cover, and then you're fine. Wow, what a fight. Look at my cover. I cannot regen cover. I don't have a healer. And yeah, this is the extent of it. I should have waited until I did the circles to burst there, because that was a Rappy burst. Oh, and also, despite the way my units are set up, I'm bursting with Rappy first, because Ludmilla does less than Rappy. In my case, keep in mind, you'll have to test this out for your units in general. My Ludmilla is lacking an elemental role. That might actually be the difference maker to actually get more damage out of Ludmilla than Red Hood overall. Or, sorry, Rappy. So as a result, you know, it's better for you to double check just in case. And this is the easiest one, Helm and Guillotine. Boy oh boy, you're about to see some stupid shit, because Helm's healing is stupid. I did as much of the projectiles I could without, like, wasting too much damage here. I mean, this is just easy. You don't care about any fucking hit you take unless you go, like, too low on health. The most dangerous part of this team, I say dangerous, the most annoying part of this team is having to babysit E-Leg. But, yeah. Like, look at that. You just get hit and it's back to full. Who cares? Hell makes this brainless. Genuinely. And because you have so much time before the boss does anything again, I mean, and back to full. It's stupid. Also, if you're wondering, the reason I delayed the QT is so I could get to the next burst in time before this happens. Yeah, this is like the main team where I have to do this for, so in case you're wondering, that's why. You do have to have that little delay, because otherwise you will be like caught with your pants down and just won't be able to be bursting for like a while. Oh, and by the by, in case you have not realized, I might as well just go back and talk about it. I am on 13 counters here with E-Leg. I am bursting with E-Leg at this moment. This is important because this is the soonest you can get to 13 stack. It replaces a guillotine burst, so you don't lose damage out of it. It's the best time to do it. You get a fair bit of damage out of it, and yeah. It also means you'll get back into position for Eli to be slamming the whole field sooner, which means some projectile will be a non-issue as a result toward the end. If you want an easier time, though, you can just not burst with Eli. That's also completely fine. What ends up happening is that every time she gets a go, she will blow up the field. If there's projectile on the field, they're gone. So it will make your life a little easier, but I mean, this is already very easy to begin with, so, you know. If you wonder when to burst with E-Leg again, because now the boom is already ready. Also, yeah, we're bursting with helmets already back to full. It would be on the next burst. So roughly on like 20-ish seconds left. So yeah, it's also when projectile stops happening, so, you know. Now just laser across the board, just do damage. It's that simple. And there you go, 17.5 billion damage. Hopefully this was helpful to some. I know this solo raid is pretty easy. It's really just a case of, if you have Brady, use her over SBS, obviously. If you have, and when I say if you have Brady, I mean like if you have her built with elemental damage. If you have Quincy, use her over Phantom, obviously. If she's actually built with elemental, then burst with her maybe, or test whether or not it's better or not. If you are using Rappy and Ludmilla, double check to make sure that Ludmilla, if Ludmilla has less than 4 elemental roll, I think my Ludmilla has something like 60% elemental damage. If you have less than that, you're probably better off bursting with Rappy first, then Ludmilla. And yeah. That's it. As the whole solo raid. So again, I hope this helps some. I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Have a good day, everyone.